Hi and welcome to video blog 10B, which is part 2 of a thought I introduced last time. Don't confuse your why with your assignment. Don't confuse your why with your assignment. And we defined our why as the purpose, the calling, the big picture banner of our life. And our assignment is the job or the role we might have at any one time. Don't confuse those two. They're very, very different. And I use the illustration of my own situation where I've had looked back at 6 assignments, now a 7th, 6 assignments which have all fitted under the banner of the why of helping people flourish, helping people and organisations become the best versions of themselves they could be. But all 6 were very different. And I said we would look at what are the benefits of keeping that distinction clear, and also maybe having a look at how we can discover and articulate that why for ourselves. How do we start to do that? So let's look at a couple of those benefits, and there are many. But the first one I'd say is this: it's very helpful to do that in times of transition. When your role changes, it's quite a traumatic time in many ways, and there's a grieving and a loss to that. But the loss is not of your calling. The loss is simply of that role. And whether you've chosen the transition or somebody else has chosen it for you, it can still a loss, and you haven't lost your calling. It can be helpful in stages of life transitions. I think of retirement, where many people in retirement think that they've lost their purpose. But you haven't lost your purpose. You've simply lost a role. It's not your purpose. I understand there's grieving in that, but it's not your purpose. And in transitions, redundancy, for example, in retirement, your sense of self-worth can take a hit because you think you've lost everything, or you've lost the purpose. But you haven't lost your purpose. Your calling is still the same, and there are many other opportunities and outlets for you to fulfill that why in your life. Helping people flourish has taken a different look for me now than it has in any of the other roles I've had over the years, but it's still the same why. One of the benefits is just to help you say yes and no with conviction. Somebody asks you to do something or to take up a role, and you know it doesn't fit with your purpose. You can say no with a sense of peace and a sense of conviction. Also, if somebody asks you to do something and you know that just fits so well with you, you can just know that and have a sort of a contentment about that and a fulfillment about that, because it fits with your overall purpose and fulfillment. It's really important. It gives you that ability to say yes and no with conviction. It also helps you with your recruiting. If you're in a leadership role where you're recruiting people, this is a very important thing to explore with potential employees, to try and explore what they know of their big picture why. Because if the role you're offering them doesn't fit with that why, then you're going to build restlessness, maybe disgruntledness with that person. Where if it does fit with their overall why, it will build settledness, and it will maybe lead to longer tenure for someone in that role. So there's lots of reasons why there's benefits to making this distinction between your why and your assignment. It's very important to do that. What about helping you discover that why? That's not an easy process. How do you discover that? What are some of the ways you can start to define and articulate your big picture banner, not just a job you're given? And I'd say first and foremost, there's no formula to this. There's no easy, trite answer, formulaic answer to this is how you follow your why. Follow these 10 steps and you'll discover your why. There's no trite answer to that. It's much bigger than that, because but make sure you understand the banner is bigger than any role. It's a banner that could be my why is to bring hope. My why is to find solutions. My why is to bring reconciliation and freedom. My why is to speak truth. There's a whole bunch of those, many, many, many more big banner whys of your life that many assignments will fit under. Make sure you're looking for the why, not just trying to find the next assignment. So All of those big whys can be expressed in a number of ways, whatever you've discovered yours to be. There are no formulas. There are no formulas, but there may be a couple of questions that will help you in the discovery of that. For example, questions like, what do I love to do? What really brings me joy and fulfillment? Questions like, what am I good at? And if we can actually sync up those two things, it gives you a fairly good start at beginning to understand what your why might be. A third question might be, what do people who love me and are close to me and love me know that I love to do and know that I'm good at? Because that brings that in that perspective of someone else, just to give you that picture, because sometimes left to our own devices we can fool ourselves. So just some questions that help us begin the process of trying to discover our why. What do we love doing? What are we good at? What do other people know that we love doing and are good at as well? And one other hint, I think, that if you're in a role or a job that is not fulfilling and you know that's not your part of your big why, maybe ask the question, what would I love to volunteer in? What is a cause or a role that I'd love to volunteer? And you may not have the time to volunteer, you may not be able to volunteer, but if I could, what would I love to do? What would I volunteer in? And that again might start the process of discovering what your why may be. Understanding this distinction between your calling, your purpose and your why and your assignment is so liberating. It's allowed me to enjoy each role I've been in and to see how it does fit the bigger picture of me. It helps me to be able to transition between roles. It'll help you do the same, and it'll help you make better choices in life. So don't give up the endeavour to discover your why, your purpose and your calling. And remember, don't confuse your why with your assignment. Hope that's helpful. Let me know. Please feel free to feedback on social channels, on the website, timhanna.com.au. And I look forward to catching you again in a fortnight. In the meantime, take care, stay safe, and bring hope.